Hey guys! Today I'm going to take you with me to a riding lesson. I ride Western, so I thought I would vlog what a typical lesson looks like for me. It's 2 p.m. right now on a Friday, and I just got back from school, and right now I'm at my apartment. If you didn't know, I'm a sophomore at Jorvik Academy College. It's honestly been a super busy morning. I had to wake up at 5 this morning to go to the barn for my morning shift, and then I had 2 classes this morning, one at 9 and then another one at 10:30. After I was done with my morning classes, I stopped by my favorite cafe, Stablebucks, for a quick lunch break and to get some of my classwork done. I have a huge paper due in my English class, and I had to schedule out my whole week to get all my volunteering hours done for another one of my classes. Luckily, the owner of the barn I ride at needs some extra help, so I've been helping with mucking out and grooming in the mornings, Wednesday to Saturday for a few hours, and then in the evenings as well. I've honestly been pretty busy, especially with finals coming up, but I'm excited for my lesson and to go ride. I feel like it's a great way to relieve stress, and it's always the highlight of my week. So I'm gonna go quickly change and then head over to the barn, and I'll take you guys with me. What I wear to a lesson probably looks a lot different from what some of you English riders might typically wear. My instructor is pretty chill, so I usually just wear either jeans or leggings, and I know leggings aren't the most Western thing you probably might think of, but honestly I just find them super comfortable, and that's what I always wear. For tops, I just wear a basic t-shirt or a hoodie, and I always wear my paddock boots. I make sure to pack my helmet because, you know, safety first. It's a bit chilly today, and I'm going to be riding closer to the evening time and then staying a little later to help out at the barn after, so I'm just gonna wear a pullover and then bring a light jacket and some gloves just in case. I also need to remember to bring a granola bar or something because I'm gonna be at the barn until way late tonight, so I need something to help tie me over until dinner. My apartment is actually kind of far from the barn where I ride. It's about a 25-minute bus ride. Since I live right in the city, it just takes a bit of time to get more out into the country area of Jorvik, but luckily I live super close to the bus stop, and I can bring my laptop and stuff to do some schoolwork on my way there. It's very convenient for me right now to still be living in the city since it is closer to my university. Now I'm just waiting for my bus. The bus is supposed to be here in like 5 minutes, and I'll see you guys when I get to my barn. Okay, my lesson is at 5, so I have about an hour to get my horse ready for my lesson. That's plenty of time, but I wanted to get here early because it will take a bit of extra time getting ready since I'm filming. Also, I wanted to get a good warm-up in. Okay, I'm just going into the tack room to put my stuff down, and I also need to grab Wildfire's halter and lead rope. I put him out in the pasture this morning when I was here, so I just need to go grab him and groom him really quick. First, I'm going to put my stuff down in my locker, get my boots on, and tie up my hair, and then I'll introduce you guys to the horse that I've been leasing. I was wanting to warm Wildfire up a bit before my lesson, just because it's been a few weeks since I've ridden him. He actually threw a shoe last week, so I couldn't even take him out on the trails or anything, but the farrier finally came last night just to put a new shoe on, so today I wanted to just take him for a chill warm-up ride before our lesson so we get connected, and most importantly, to get some of his energy in check before our lesson. This is Wildfire. He's the horse I've been leasing at the barn for almost 8 months now. He's an Appaloosa, and so far he's been a really great match with me. He's almost 13 years old now. He used to compete in Western pleasure and barrel racing, so he's super quick and a really fun ride for lessons, but he's also very chilled out, which is perfect because I'm not competing on him or anything at the moment. Okay, he actually looks pretty clean today, which is nice. Usually he loves to roll, but luckily all the fields are really dry because it hasn't rained at all this week, so I'm just gonna quickly brush off some of this dust and pick out his hooves, and then I'll get him tacked and ready for our ride. Okay, I just grabbed all his tack. I usually double pad him, and I'm going to be using a new lighter saddle today, so we'll see how that feels. It may just take me 1 extra second to get the stirrups measured out, but that's fine. Okay, I kind of eyeballed where I thought my stirrups should be, but I think I need to move them up a hole. They were a bit long. I usually like to ride with my stirrups long, but this was a bit much for me. By the way, if the barn looks empty, it's because most of the riders here either have their horses out to pasture or they're out on the trails and having lessons today. Friday is a very busy day at this barn, so you'll probably see lots of other riders out today. I just need to check my girth real quick since we've walked around a little bit. Okay, this feels much better. I'm gonna walk him out and we'll take the shorter trail today. I ended up really liking the size saddle actually. It's a lot more comfortable than the other one I've been using. I actually purchased this one secondhand just because I had been using the Barnes saddle that was like really old and falling apart. And this one is a bit lighter and I think it will be a bit more comfortable for fire as well, especially for our longer trail rides. I only have lessons once a week right now on Fridays just because I'm mostly riding for fun, and I usually do trail riding mostly. I usually go out on rides with either my instructor or my other friend at the barn, but she's actually away for a competition this weekend, so we'll just be on our own. Luckily, Fire is very confident on his own and he doesn't get nervous being the leader or riding without a buddy, so that's nice. We didn't go far and we get a lot of horse traffic along these trails, so it is safe to go out on our own, which is nice. We started out at a nice easy walk. I could tell Fire had a lot of energy, so I let him move up to a trot pretty quickly. After a while, I moved him up to a lope because I thought he would probably enjoy it, but he was definitely pushing through me, probably because he hasn't really been ridden in a few weeks. I got him collected and had to hold his reins a bit shorter until he gave me a nice collected lope. Okay, so there was actually a bit of water on our ride. I hadn't been out with him in a few weeks, so I didn't realize there was actually going to be that much water down here. It wasn't very deep, but there was quite a long stretch of about knee-high water for Fire. The only thing about Wildfire I always have to be careful about is that he really doesn't like water. He's gotten a lot better and he usually will trust me more about walking through water now, but he still doesn't enjoy it and will sometimes spook or refuse. So I always just reassure him and try to be prepared for anything because he has been known to try and jump it or bolt around it at the last minute. He ended up crossing the river just fine. He did hesitate, but I just kept my leg on him and encouraged him. I thought he was going to try and jump it at first, but he actually went through it really nicely. Okay, my lesson starts in about 10 minutes, so I'm just going to quickly check his feet again since he usually picks up some loose rocks from the trail, and we'll do our regular lesson warm-up with my instructor. He definitely loved that ride and I'm so glad we got to do it and to get some of his energy out, especially since he hasn't been ridden for a bit. He would have been super spicy for our lesson today if I hadn't. So usually for our warm-up, my instructor has us do a circle in each direction around the arena, first at a walk, then at a trot, keeping nice spacing with the fence. Then we do a halt and have him back up 3 steps. He was super responsive for the walking part of the warm-up and stayed nice and close to the fence with just a little bit of cueing with my inner leg. I was a bit nervous about riding him after a few weeks and having his lesson the first day back, but you know, it was probably good to have my instructor there anyways because she could give me some helpful tips and pointers. She had me use a shorter rein on him whenever he was pushing through me at the trot, and then I was able to loosen on the other side because he was listening pretty well. For our lesson today, my instructor wanted us to complete this pretty complicated course just to work on building trust and training him to be more responsive to my signals. I'm personally working on using less reins, more leg, so she really wanted me to work on my leg cues through an obstacle course. First, she had me walk through the course on foot to get some groundwork in with him, and then we got started on riding. First, we had to do a bit of pole bending. Then we walked through a curved narrow path forwards, then I had to reverse him back through the curved path. This part was really hard for us today for some reason. We really struggled with the direction in the backup and we kept walking into the fence, which Fire didn't really like. It was especially hard because I was trying to focus mostly on using leg cues, but finally we got through it and we could start working on finishing up the course. Next we walked across a small wood bridge and then between some hay bales, which we got through really smoothly. After we finished the course, she wanted us to practice some basic barrel patterns. She put flags on top of the barrels. I had to practice grabbing the flag from one bucket on a barrel and then dropping it into the other one just to work on our agility and quick turns. Fire is really good with stuff like this since he used to compete in barrels. He's very good about getting very close to the barrels for me, so we did that pattern at a walk, then at a trot. Then my instructor had me practice using my inside leg to spin him around the barrels a bit faster at a lope, and he really flew through those turns, which honestly kind of threw me off balance a few times, but even though I struggled with it and I had to slow him down to grab the flags, we still did pretty well. We will be practicing that more later for sure. At the end of the lesson, my instructor just called me to the middle of the arena and gave me some feedback, basically just to be quicker and more clear with my leg signals, especially with my leg cues to get him to turn sharper around the barrels and when backing up. But overall, she said we looked pretty good today. By the way, if you're confused about all the different arenas that I was in for my lesson today, we have several different arenas with different props set up for riding and for lessons, so that's why I was in so many different arenas today. Then we just walked around the arena a few times to cool him off, and I rode him back to the barn to untack. I untacked him as quickly as I could since he worked so hard for me today, and I double checked his feet again and they were actually pretty clean, so I didn't really need to pick them. I'm always kind of paranoid about checking his feet because he is prone to getting rocks in there since he has such deep grooves in his hooves. Then I gave him some treats and cuddles for doing so great today, and he was getting a bit impatient for his food, so I hurried and put away his tack and grabbed him some food. After today, I just gave him a scoop of grain and grabbed his hay net to refill it for the night. His water still looked good, so I grabbed his blanket from my locker because it gets a bit chilly at night. I also grabbed my jacket because it's a bit chilly for me too. By then it was about 7:30 and it was starting to get dark, so I decided to get started on my barn duties for the night. I just needed to check on the waters and refill hay nets for each of the horses, and then I followed the barn schedule for what types of feed each horse gets and how much. Pretty much all the horses have been put out in pasture this morning, so I just had to bring them in and go do like a surface sweep in the pasture with their wheelbarrow. After making sure the fields were good and there was water in their water buckets, I went back to the barn to check on all the horses, do a quick groom. Most of them looked good and just needed a little brush off from some of the dust that they picked up when they were rolling. And then I grabbed my stuff and said goodnight to Wildfire. Okay, now it's almost 9, so I'm gonna hurry home and grab a quick bite to eat when I get home to Yorvik City. I actually got all caught up on schoolwork already today, which is nice, so I can relax a bit this weekend. I'll probably play a little bit of Star Stable and then go to bed to be ready for my barn duties tomorrow. Thanks for coming with me to my writing lesson, and hopefully you guys enjoyed getting to see what a Western lesson might look like. Let me know what other kinds of videos you guys are interested in seeing. Thanks for watching, bye!